Hello and welcome to this Field Technologies and Integrated Solutions Magazine podcast. I'm Jim Roddy, the president of Jameson Publishing, Field Technologies Online, and Integrated Solutions Magazine. Thanks for joining us. As always, we're here to show growing organizations how to capture, generate, and retrieve data at all points of work and service. Our discussion topic today is the power of mobile payment, and our guest today to give us an inside perspective on this topic is Jim Hilton. He's a Senior Director of Manufacturing and Field Mobility at Motorola, and he spends a lot of time out in the field, and so he's going to give us some good information. Jim, thanks for your time today.
Good morning. Happy to be here.
Good to talk with you. So, Jim, mobile payment. It seems like almost every company is embracing mobility in some form. Many of them, the next step could be, mobile payments. Can you define what types of mobile payments, have proven so far to have the best ROI?
Sure. Probably the overlying or overreaching idea around mobile payment has to do with who is the end customer. If that is the consumer, then by all means there is huge traction, there's huge benefit, and there's considerable ROI associated with taking the payment to that point of activity. And the definition between customer and consumer is that oftentimes that point of delivery or that receiving person on the other side is not the consumer. It happens to be a retailer or someone like that. So the types of mobile payment that have proven to have the best ROI is when that consumer is involved with the delivery process. Now, whether that's inside the four walls in a lot of retail environments where you see line busting is a term that is used quite often, where the clerk might get out from behind the counter and go out with the consumer while they're shopping or as they approach the counter. And then also the other way, outside the four walls, is where there might be a field technician or a home delivery operation that actually delivers goods, services, and activity at home or with the at some point.
Got it. Can you talk about that person not just collecting the payments, but also the ability to, upsell or cross-sell?
Exactly, and that's where the ROI really shows up, is if you think about all the pre-planning a consumer might do when they make a buy or when they call for a service, and then when the actual service occurs, there's always the opportunity, because the environment oftentimes is different than what is expected, or that impulse buy is always there. When the consumer is involved, if that service person or that delivery person has the ability to take mobile payment, then I'm going to use two words very strongly. Upselling, meaning you bought this and you could buy a different or a higher version of that, or cross-selling, meaning I've got adjacent products that would go quite well with that, or we may have promotions that go quite well with that you didn't take advantage of when you made the call or you were in the store, but now at the point of delivery, you can still do that because I've got it out on my truck. And that upselling and that cross-selling is where that ROI. And if you think about it, it's actually got the best distribution cost to it because your service person is already on site.
Right. Yeah, this is kind of taking like the concept that fast food restaurants had years ago, where you'd order a sandwich and a drink, and they'd say, "Would you like fries with that?" And a lot of those restaurants have made a lot of money, a lot of upselling just by making those add-ons. So, is that essentially what you're talking about? Is selling additional inventory to those folks right at that point?
Exactly. And I also might add, particularly when it comes to services that should be paid for, oftentimes in let's call it a current state or a manual state, many of those goods and services are given away when they should have been charged for, simply because that field service person, that home delivery person, didn't have the ability to take payment on spot.
Got it. Can you also talk about, that's what's going on right now. Can you talk about what's on the horizon for mobile payments? What new applications are you seeing that are going to have big benefits and ROI like the ones we just talked about?
Sure. And let's never forget kind of that overlying or that overreaching idea of where the consumer is involved.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of PCI compliance makes that payment, that mobile payment, be one of the most secure ways of doing a transaction today. And with that, the movement of mobile payment to that consumer for just about all their goods and services is going to be a path taken. As for your readership, for manufacturers of the world, we are already incurring our distribution costs to get to that point. This is a way to make that $200 sale be a $300 sale, $400, et cetera, et cetera. And so you're going to see in the ways of mobile payment that become more commonplace than it is a new idea over the next, I'm going to say, 2 to 3 years.
Got it. And my business, your business, all folks listening to this, cash flow is a big concern, and being able to collect payments. Do you think this is going to expand, to some of the tougher folks that you have to collect from? That this is going to help kind of close that gap and reduce the risk that companies like ours have of having people pay on terms?
I do, and that's a very, very good point. It's going to have slower traction, if you will,
mm-hmm.
or slower ramp up, simply because it's not the consumer involved. It's the a reseller, retailer, whatever that form that customer might take. But is going back as long as 15 to 20 years ago. I've sat in a few conversations with very senior management manufacturers where they wished they could move some of their at-risk AR off of their traditional accounts receivable books onto some sort of mobile payment. And again, that was 15 to 20 years ago. Today, that's possible, although it's a bit disruptive, not because of technology. Technology, you could deploy that today. But the idea of a retailer that is accustomed to just signing an invoice and then maybe 45 days later paying for that, to be moved to a credit card, debit card, some sort of buying apparatus in the form of mobile payment right there on the spot, that's the disruptive part.
Mm-hmm.
However, it has merit for the manufacturer, so I firmly believe it will happen. It's just going to happen at a slower pace than where the consumer's involved.
Got it. Good. So that's the background of what's on the horizon, what's going on right now. So, the theme of our website and our magazine, we talk about actions. We want to give our listeners, our readers, actionable steps that they can take. What do you recommend that the folks listening to this do in regards to mobile payment?
Absolutely. So if I were on that side of the table today, as a manufacturer, I would get very, very comfortable and pull in whatever content you need to get that comfort level, that PCI compliant, that's the secure pipe, if you will, for
mm-hmm.
Mobile payment is there. It's healthy, and it's pretty well vetted. It's very well vetted to where that shouldn't be a concern. The second thing I would do is I would look at my existing infrastructure in that my delivery system, ever how manual or automated it is, I would look at what the value of two phrases, upselling or cross-selling, would bring to the operation. Because this is not, particularly if the consumer is at the other end of the transaction, this is not a disruptive discussion, it's an additive. It is an attachment, it's a piece of software, and the adoption is much less dramatic. So step one is, what is the value to my operation if I could have my field service people and those that touch the consumer be able to, on the spot, upsell and cross-sell and take payment for it right then. The third thing I would do is, on the negative side, is I would try to guesstimate within my own operation how many services I'm giving away today that happen because they aren't able to take immediate payment for it.
Right.
And that essentially would roll into the ROI for them.
Got it. Maybe what do you think of, you and I talked before, we started recording this. Your job is spending a lot of time out in the field, so you get to see with your own eyes exactly what's going on, and so you can get back to, our offices at Motorola and make adaptations that quickly. Would that be something you'd recommend to folks as well of, maybe they haven't been out in the field for a little bit, just to, hop in with somebody and see exactly what goes on and give them a, first-hand view?
Oh, absolutely. On two fronts. I'll answer that question two different ways. In your own operation, the manufacturer, there is always value by getting out with the field. Spend a day in the truck with your field people, and taking care of gaining that insight firsthand. But also, you can reach out to organizations like ourselves. Again, like you said, I spend much of my time out working on business problems, and so Motorola certainly is one organization that we do a thing called a mobility assessment, where we would actually come in and do the same thing. So whether you do it with your own eyes or whether you have an external set of eyes take a look at this, there's always value to the output.
Got it. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Hopefully our discussion has given you some insight into the power of mobile payments and how it could help your business and increase your sales and increase your profits. Before we go, I want to say a few thank yous. Thanks again to Jim Hilton from Motorola for joining us today. Jim, that was really good. Thanks very much. And thanks to you so much for listening to this podcast. Our goal at Field Technologies Online and Integrated Solutions Magazine is to help IT decision makers optimize field workers, service, and assets. For more information, please visit our website at www.fieldtechnologiesonline.com. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks again for listening.